Hey, good morning, everybody. John here at Havoc Maker Studio and FNP Wargamers. So, I have not done a couple videos this week 'cause my AC has been acting up. It looks like the compressor was down, but thankfully the maintenance guys are working on it. But I did not want to run my computer, last week for other reasons, but past couple days because of the heat. I didn't want it overheating. Yes, I know it's got a fan, but I just didn't want to run that risk. Plus, it is hot in here. But today we're going to talk really briefly, not even briefly, we're going to talk in depth about Dormammu. This model we've already seen the pictures of. He dropped a few weeks ago with the rest of all the other new characters like the new Doctor Strange and Mordo, Ancient One, whatnot. So today, earlier this morning, very early this morning, we've got the panel to play, which I still don't know if this is a thing going forward that Atomic Mass Games is going to do, but their new panel to play format, instead of just kind of giving you a sneak peek of the model and just kind of an idea of their rules. Well, not the model, but an idea of the rules. They've been giving out the full-on character cards. Now, this might be because there's still delays going on, and I know we, including myself, give them a hard time. But it is all in jest. But like the Amazing Spider-Man and Black Cat box, which I think is CP37 or might be 50, and then Carnage and Mysterio, which is the other number. We joke around about it, but we understand that there's always delays, and a lot of that, I would say the vast majority of that, is not in their hands. But we're still going to rib them because it's the internet and we're safe and sound inside of our own studios and our apartments, wherever we're at, and we can sit there and make fun of them and get away with it. But it is in jest. I mean, I'm not even probably going to get those characters, at least not right now, maybe eventually. But let's talk about Dormammu. So we're going to read as normal, top to bottom, left to right, and we're going to go over it. Now, he is going to be a big boy. From what I understand, we should have him sometime by the end of Q3, which is between now and the end of September, supposedly. So that might change. That it might get pushed back to Q4, which will be October through December. We'll see. We know he's coming. We've seen the model. We've got the card, so it's not like it's rumored. It's legit. So let's take a look. Now, normally I don't show both cards, or I talk about both the wounded side, which is the red one on your screen on the right hand side, or the usually I just show the healthy side, which is the blue background on the left side of the screen. But we're showing it today because occasionally there are alterations on the cards depending upon certain circumstances. So in this case, he starts off with a healthy 10 on his, well, it's on his healthy side, 10 wounds. And then when he does go to his dazed side, he's got 12. So he's going to bump up to 2. Right now, I don't think the Thanos is up there. I think he's the one with the most wounds right now at 22 wounds. Very significant. So he's got a medium movement, which is going to be really significant because he's sitting on a 65 millimeter base, which means that it doesn't mean that he's moving further, but that his threat area of effect is is moving with him. Since you measure from the front, it's not really that's the size of the base is not really significant. But the fact that he is moving medium is really nice. I was worried that they were going to give him a short range movement, but he is a big boy. He's got a nice lengthy stride. I'll take medium. So he is the first size 5 character. Most size 5 things in the game are buildings. So at size 5, he is the biggest boy out there, which means that with with a couple rare models, I want to say maybe 2 or 3, like Cassandra Nova, and maybe She-Hulk, maybe, I'm not sure. Nobody's going to be pushing or throwing him around. I think Groot can throw size 5, which would be interesting if you had Groot or Cassandra Nova teamed up with him, because giving him a free movement from throwing him or pushing him, and then on his activation, he can move around. I mean, that's sick. That's really sick. He is threat 8. He is the first threat 8, I believe, because I think the Hulk is 6, and I think also is Thanos. So sitting at threat 8, that's 8 points. So when you're figuring up your team, usually anywhere from 15. I think the highest game right now is 20 points, depending if you draw that mission. That's almost 50% of your points right there. Well, it's over 50, between 50 to, I don't know, 55, 60% of your points. It's a lot. Now, let's take a look at his defenses. So physical, energy are both 4s. Not surprising, considering he's like just shy of being a god in the Marvel Universe. And his mystic defense is a 5. That is another one of those pretty significant. You don't see that often. You see more 4s than anything else. That 5 mystic defense is good. I'm gonna take it, especially considering we're about to get 2, 4, 5, well, kind of 6 new mystic characters sometime this year. I'll take it. That's a lot of mystic characters, which, there are mystic characters out there right now, but not as plentiful as, say, the ones that do a lot of energy or physical damage. All right, so let's take a look at his attacks. So his first one is an energy attack called the Shadow Bolt. It is still really good, and it's actually one of the higher end basic attacks out there. Energy attack, range 4, 6 dice of damage. That's a lot. 0 power cost, no surprise, and no matter what happens after you're done resolving the attack, the target character, unless they have an immunity, gets the Hex special condition if you roll the wild symbol. And if you're not familiar with Hex, if you have the Hex condition on you, the character doesn't roll additional dice for its critical results during the attack, defense, or dodge rolls. Normally, if you get the critical success, which is a 1 in 8 chance, you can roll again and potentially get a second success, but that does not trigger additional rolls. All right, so that's still really awesome. Sap power. So if you happen to roll the wild symbol, which there's only 1 on the dice, but rolling 6 dice, I think that puts you at I'm not even going to try to figure out the percentage chance. I would say close to 50% chance of one of those dice coming up. Before the damage is dealt, the character loses 1 power for each wild symbol in the attack roll. And then the Dormammu will get that much power. Now, that's cool, but it's not like the normal, what's the terminology they told me about today? Builder. He's not a power builder, which means that normally if you do damage, the vast majority of characters, if you do damage, however much damage you do, you get that much power. His, it's all based on the wild symbol. So he's still there, but not quite at the level. It might actually end up balancing out, I think, versus how much damage you cause versus how many of the wild symbols you roll. The advantage is obviously in how much damage you do, but it's still good. It's not great, but it's good. But he has ways to get around that, and we're going to get into that. His only other basic attack is the Incantation of Obliteration. Now this is range 3, 8 dice at a cost of 5 power, which is very expensive. The fact that it's just 8 dice just alone is good, is solid, super solid. And it gives you a pretty good chance of pulling off the trigger ability, the Dark Miasma. Now, this ability requires you to, out of those 8 dice, plus any other dice you might get from tactics cards or bonuses from other characters, whatnot, no matter what, however many dice you roll, if you have a critical success, a hit, a shield, and a critical failure. So you need all 4 out of those 8 plus dice. And if you get that, you get the Dark Miasma. Now, this attack is resolved. The character may make an additional incantation attack without paying the power cost. So that's the reason why that this power is so costly and why it has a higher trigger. I'll take it. It's worth it in the end. Now, this can't target the same person that you just did. It's got to target a second person within range 2. So you might not always be able to pull it off, but I would say once per game. You'll probably only be able to pull this off maybe 2 to 3 times. I'm going to say probably only 2 times during the game before one of you scores victory. Maybe three, depending on your team setup and how quickly you're drawing power and gaining power and all that stuff. But probably 2 times. So hopefully you'll be able to at least pull it off 2 times and at least have the trigger go off once. I would say probably not all that often, but that doesn't stop him from being extremely useful with a 6 and an 8 attack dice. That's awesome. So looking at the flames, let's see, can I, oh, you know what, let me zoom this up here so you guys can see a little bit better here. So let's get into his leadership ability. Flames of the Faltine. It's a new affiliation. I wasn't even aware that he was going to have an affiliation, but he is the leader for the Dark Dimension, which is good. So that means that him, the Hood, and at least Dormammu or Mordo are going to be on that team. Who else? Don't know, but we'll get there eventually. So if Dormammu is included in a squad, that squad is affiliated with Dark Dimension and must use this leadership ability. This character and each other character you control gains 1 additional power during the power phase. During the power phase, if another allied character has 6 or more power, it's going to take damage. My guess is Dormammu doesn't like other people having more power than him, so there's a bit of a backlash. But still, that's really nice because be able to gain 2 power at the beginning of the phase, and I want to say Mordo or I don't think the Hood, but I think Mordo gains power already, extra power. I could be wrong. So we got the superpower, not of this dimension. It's going to cost 3. This is a little more costly, but maybe given his size and his entire stat line, I can understand why it's 3 power. But normally, from what I seem to recall from other cards, is when you have the power similar to this, it's a 1 point for 1 range of movement. But not of this dimension. For 3 power, you can place this character within range 2 of its current position. And it's not an action, so you can still pop this off and still have your 2 actions. Or do an action, pop this off, and whatnot, and do your next action. So his reactive power, feel the darkness. It is 2 power, and after an attack targeting this character is resolved, since it is reactive power, he can use the power. The attacking character is pushed away, short range, and gains the Hex special condition, which, if you don't remember, is the one where you don't get critical successes. If the attacking character already has Hex, you gain Incinerate. And Incinerate, let's talk about Incinerate. Incinerate removes 1 die from its defense pools. So you're on fire, and you're trying to put the fire out. That's why it's a reduction of dice. That's awesome. That increases the chance of doing a lot of damage with his 6 and 8 dice attacks and putting somebody out a lot faster. So really awesome. And then this is going to be a good team up with Mordo because he has some Hex related abilities. And if you're able to squeeze in, what's her name? Scarlet Witch, then you're going to be popping off a lot of triggering abilities because of status effects. So we'll see. I mean, I think she's a 5. Mordo, I believe, is a 3, and he's an 8, so that puts you at a 16. So you might be able to squeeze all 3 of those in a game. But there's other characters out there that you might want. I think Dormammu also, right now at the top of my head, I think him with Groot would be also a good choice. But I would probably look at a power team of Mordo, Scarlet Witch, and Dormammu. So let's move on. He has 2, multiple innate abilities. Let's get to the first one, Master of the Realm of Darkness. When he takes damage, when this character suffers damage from an enemy effect, he gains 1 power instead of power equal to the damage suffered. Normally, you get however much damage you actually took, you get all that power. So in this case, he only gets 1. Now, the cool thing is when another allied character is damaged by an enemy effect or by the Flames of Faltine, the team ability, which you gain power, and if you have more than 6 power during the power phase, you're going to take damage. Dormammu gets a point of power. So, and it doesn't have a range on it. So, as your characters, your attached characters take damage, he's getting power. So this makes up for not having that ability to just pop off a lot of, or gain a lot of power from dealing damage. He has got a lot of ways to gain power. So he's going to be gaining 2 no matter what at the beginning of the turn. And then he's more than likely going to be probably generating about, I'd say he's going to be generating probably about 4 power a turn, 3 to 4 power based on his abilities. Additionally, when calculating success or failure for this character's attacks, now this is a big one, this character adds the number of critical failures in both attack and defense rolls to his total successes. That is absolutely huge. Now, there's only 1 critical failure, 1 critical success. I believe there's 1 wild symbol, 1 blank, and nope, not 1 blank. I forget. It could be 1 blank. There's a hit. Anyways, you just now increase your chances of success. I'll have to think about how many different symbols are on the dice. That's going to bother me. I know that there's 8 symbols on the dice, but what is the... I used to have a chart for this. Now it's going to bug me. Maybe I'll have to look this up later when I'm not doing a video. Yeah, we're going to look this up later. So that's still really good. That increases your successes. So going from only needing 3 symbols, now you need 50% of your symbols to match up to the dice. So, I mean, you're just increase yourself by like 13-14% chance per dice. I'll let the math gurus figure this out. Now, his other one is he has a host of other minor innate abilities. Flight, which is good for his medium, immunity to bleed, incinerate, and stagger. I think you see stagger more than anything else. There's a lot of new characters been popping up with bleed, so having that counter to that is great. And incinerate, there's not a lot of people that do incinerate right now, but I have a feeling once the other magic users, I think we still have Doctor Strange, Clea, the Hood, and Dr. Voodoo are all going to be coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if at least, especially Dr. Voodoo, who has some mastery over the elements, he has Incinerate as an ability, and I believe they might have already shown Hood, but I think if not, the Hood has those flaming magic fire guns. So there's definitely some heat coming down range for the Incinerate ability. So overall, not too shabby. I think some people are going to, I think a lot of people actually are going to just pick it up because Dormammu is just an impressive model just right off the bat. I mean, he is, miniature wise, just a beautiful, beautiful model. And the fact that he is also extremely effective in combat. And he's a force multiplier. I mean, he's just an all around beast. I can see a lot of people trying to squeeze him in, but I think smaller teams with be able to squeeze in two more models is going to also be the difference because you're going to be able to score a lot faster and score more. So that's one of those things that you are missing out on when you take these high threat models like the Hulk and Thanos, even those people sitting at 5s like Doctor Strange and I want to say Jean Grey, and of course Dormammu. You are running the risk of having a much smaller team, and that doesn't mean you're not going to win. But you are adding a force multiplier, but you are missing additional personnel. And it's amazing how 1 or 2 extra models, even just 1 extra model, can be capturing objectives while you're going toe-to-toe with your other models. Because if you're not familiar, this game has a very low table wipe ratio. I want to say it's 1 in 300. It could be 1 in 3,000 games as a table wipe. So being able to tie up enemy combatants while you have a 3-on-3 basically match, and you've got a 4th character running around with a high movement capturing objectives. I don't know. I mean, that comes down to like a lot of strategy and tactics, but I kind of equate having the big boys kind of like with Warhammer 40,000. I've seen people go, I'm going to run around with a whole bunch of Night Titans and Magnus and Mortarion, all these big models because they think bigger is better. More powerful means that you're going to win the games when these things are won on the objectives of the missions, and you are running two missions every game. So, to be honest with you, I think we're going to see a lot of him, but we're not going to see a lot of him in the more competitive play, just from the fact that he is so costly. And I mean, it's threat 8. That right there, I can fit in 3 characters with that, 2 3s and a 2, and that's a lot of scoring. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hopefully, I'll get some more videos out this week. I'm watching the power because I think I mentioned before in the beginning about the air conditioner. I had a wall unit that damaged actually the outlet because it overheated. I'm going to kind of be sparing until they get the AC up and running completely. So I don't want to risk having a power outage or maybe tripping a circuit or something and I lose my computer. So let me know, anyways, what you guys think of Dormammu. Are you getting him? What other team combinations are you thinking? One of the ones I saw today was Mordo, Dormammu, and oh goodness, I can't even think of the other character in there. But and maybe it was Thanos. I think it was Thanos. So I mean that's like a major power power army. But that's at that high end if you're running the a 20-point mission. But you never know. So let me know what you guys think. And we still have probably one more character this week. My guess is that we're going to see either the Hood or Dr. Voodoo this week. That's what my fingers are crossed for. We'll see. Anyways, you guys have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll chat with you later.